Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome into the spirit room. Tonight we're going to be talking about such a beautiful subject, obviously, our the way I love to talk about love is in terms of just finding love within like the everyday, just within the everyday things that happen in life, So that's what I am here to talk about tonight. And I'm so excited to be here because, you never know. You never know what's going to happen next. You never know when love is just going to kind of show up, right? And what's interesting is, hi, Frank, nice to see you. I just love this theme. So this week on Patreon, the theme is still, because the week is still going on, choosing love every day, even in like the everyday things in life. And that's the fun part, But, I gotta say, to me, I feel like that we sort of, as a society, we take love kind of for granted. I don't know if that makes sense. I feel like that love is just there. Whenever we talk about love and different things, it's just really interesting because it's more of kind of like a noun. I hate to say it this way. My mother was an English teacher, so I get this honestly, but I feel like that love is considered more of like a noun than it is a verb or an adverb. Like, I know that's a strange way to describe it, but a noun is like a thing, but a verb is like action, And tonight, what I want to focus on is for love to be an action. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. Okay, so I want to talk about why I'm saying that. Okay, so what I'm going to tell you now is this like weird little story. Oh my God, and it's so goofy, right? I mean, this week has been filled with many, many stories, but I wanted to share something that happened that is such a great example of how bringing love into the conversation changes everything. Okay. All right. So you're all going to laugh at this story. This is just kind of how I am. Okay. So last week, it was my husband's birthday. Okay. And we were going to go out to dinner. Now, it's his birthday. Okay. You need to know that there's an aspect to this in terms of figuring out where to go. My husband is such a beautiful man, right? He always wants everybody to be happy and everybody to be, doing what they're doing, the whole thing. Hi, Bex. So what ends up happening is that he cannot pick a place to go because he really loves making everybody happy. So he wants everybody else to choose, right? But it was his birthday. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Even when it's nobody's birthday, he can't decide where we're going to go. It's always, one of those kind of things, right? He just wants everybody else to make the decision. Okay. But because it was his birthday, I decided I was going to make him decide. Okay. So yeah, here's me not controlling the situation by controlling the situation, right? So the conversation begins and we start going back and forth. Okay. And I am truly at some point getting more and more frustrated. Okay. Because I want him to pick. Okay. Now, this is a stupid example, but it's so apropos for, it's such a good example. Right. So, but here's where it gets really interesting. Right. All I could feel was kind of, hi, Jackie. All I could feel was kind of the lack of a decision. starting to frustrate me. Okay. So I thought to myself, you know what, Lauri? What if? You guys know I love my what ifs, and I do them for me, not just you guys, right? What if I just let this go? Like, if no decision is made, so be it. Okay. There will be one made eventually. Okay. So here I am letting it go and sending love to the situation. Like, I literally was thinking that. Sending love to this situation. Okay. So I swear to you that as soon as I mentally shifted that thought, okay, about why isn't he making the decision, that sort of thing, the energy shifted, and interestingly, a decision was made. Okay. And I kind of was thinking, what a great way to talk about this, because I sent love to the situation, and the decision got made. Okay. Now, that's kind of an easygoing sort of example of this. Hi, Marcy. Good to see everybody. I want you guys to chime in. Okay. I told you that I'm kind of doing these conversations to a point where I want everybody to join in the conversation. Okay. So feel free. Okay. So that's kind of like that little story was kind of like an easy going situation. Okay. But a lot of times there are harder situations to choose love in. Okay. So what I want to ask, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Okay. When is it easy in terms of a circumstance going on to choose love? And when is it harder to choose love in a real life situation? Like, so the point that the question would be, if choosing love was easy all the time, we wouldn't need to practice it, right? So what is an easy time when you just like throw love into the situation, and when is it a harder time to throw love into the situation? Now, for me, I'd love to hear your thoughts, right? When for me, there's like 2 times when it gets me. Okay. And this is aside from me picking myself, right? Like forgiveness of myself and all that kind of stuff, right? So there's that, right? But when nobody will make a decision, it makes me crazy. Okay. I just gave you that example, and that was like an easygoing situation, but hey, Keith, but when nobody makes a decision, it makes me crazy. Whether it's what to have for dinner, what restaurant to go to, whatever. Okay. And here's my other thing. And it's harder. Oh, sure. Absolutely, Marcy. It's harder if you're in an argument because you're not sitting in that space of love. I totally relate to that, So my other situation that where it's harder for me to find the love is, dare I say it, but politics, and I'm not talking about in terms of people having sort of a discussion about politics. Okay. I'm kind of talking like, well, actually I am talking about in terms of having discussions, but for me, it's more about the all of the negativity of politics and what it brings to the table, right? The lying, the cheating, the stealing, the all of that stuff, right? So I get triggered by that big time. But what's been happening lately for me, considering in politics, regarding the subject of politics, such a big subject, right? What I've been doing is I've been sending, like, if I see a situation that really bugs me, normally I'm pretty good about letting things go in terms of that's your opinion, you're allowed to think, that whole thing. But when I hear about a politician like lying or cheating or stealing or anything like that, that's what triggers me. Okay. So I tend to But what I ended up doing, what I've been doing lately, is starting to just send everybody love. Okay. The politician that pisses me off, I send him or her love. It's hard to do, right? But I try really hard to do it, right? And so Jackie says, harder for me is people who are rude and critical of others. Oh, 100%. Totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. Okay. But here's my other question then. Is it harder for you to send love, give love to yourself whenever you're kind of making yourself wrong? Or is it harder when your family is doing things that, there's an argument in a family or whatever? So that's my question. Is it harder for you in terms of forgiving yourself? Is it harder for you to forgive yourself? Or is it harder for you to forgive somebody, a loved one, a family member or whatever, in terms of sending the love? It's hard. It's hard. Like you're saying, Marcy, the whole when you're in an argument, easy. So I love Jackie. Jackie, you're awesome, right? Easy would be when people are genuine and acting themselves. Absolutely. Even if you disagree with somebody, but they're being genuine, you can still send them love, kind of thing. But the idea of that, yeah, and harder is when people are rude or critical. Absolutely. So Beck says, depends on the situation, but yes, it's difficult, of course. Oh, you just had a lesson in this yesterday, Keith. Oh, I love that. But we're always, I feel like that when we have these conversations, we're able to bring it into the forefront. Okay. And in having these conversations, then it's easy for us to remember to send love into a conversation, or to that boss that just pisses you off, or to the driver that cuts you off. Oh, today I saw this guy. I cannot get over that there wasn't an accident, right? This guy was zoomed. I mean, it was bad, right? So here I am sending him love after the fact. I wasn't thinking about it, because it takes practice, to send love. I thought I might need bail money. Oh, whoa, Keith. Oh my God. But that's why we're having this conversation, so that we can learn when we need to, throw in the love thing, right? Yeah. Okay, so now my next question then is, okay, what if, okay, so this is in terms of fear. Okay, so what do you call, I'm suggesting, let's call our fear voice of well, I can't say anything because it's going to make everybody mad, or stuff like that. Okay, your fear voice. What do you call your fear voice? I decided to call my fear voice years and years ago, the one that talks to you and tells you that you're crazy, all those crazy things in your head, you're wrong, Lauri. Oh, that person thinks you're ridiculous. That person thinks you're absurd. All of that. I call that voice the committees. I know, right? It's weird, but you can give your voice any name you want. You can call it Bob or Karen or Teddy or whatever, but here's the thing. Once you name those icky thoughts in your head, I call them fear voices, or the fear voice, because when it's negative thoughts, it's based out of a place of fear, right? Okay. So when somebody says, Gladys has been talking all week, My committees have been talking all week to me. I mean, it's going to be worse. It's going to be better in certain moments, but like I'll just, most of you are, well, I shouldn't say most, but a lot of you are here from the development circle. And to be honest with you, I had my committees going crazy in on Tuesday night's circle because I was expecting the conversation to go a certain way, and it wasn't. And it was all okay. It was good. But I felt like I was letting everybody down. Right. So what did I do? Once I was able to eventually start shifting the conversation in my head to one of love. Like, you know what, Laura? Maybe spirit wants the conversation to go this way because we all or somebody needs to hear something that's going to be said. Right. So once I did that, it kind of took the pressure off. And that's my point. When we come at things from a place of love, or we throw love bombs, and I've talked to people about this before, throw love bombs, when it sounds weird, when things are going weird in a weird place, just start throwing love bombs to people. Okay, so there was a situation, and this is mine, and I'd love to hear yours. Like, tell me your stories, because, so there was somebody in my family, I'm not going to get into the whole story, but somebody in my family was going through a hard time, and I wanted that person to talk to me. And they didn't want to talk. And I'm like, fine. So here I am being irritated at myself that I'm not good enough for this person to talk to, whatever, right? But then I started going, love balls. I'm throwing the love balls, right? Started throwing the love balls at this person. And the next day, I couldn't shut this person up, And all I started thinking was, you know what? I was throwing love balls at them. And now there's more of a comfort zone there, right? So, yeah. Okay, so Keith says, oh, thanks, Keith. You're so sweet. I just tell that voice to say hi to the other side. And I'm going to wait and see, right? The roads take us into different areas and different paths. Absolutely. But it was, for me, and I use this word a lot because it's a word that I was sort of taught many years ago on how to deal with myself, right? Thwarted expectation. So I had an expectation of the way certain things were going to go the other night, and they weren't going that way. And that is the thwarted part, right? The thwarted expectation didn't happen the way I thought it was going to. So my committees got busy, or Gladys or Bob or Teddy, whatever you want to call the name, those thoughts that we go into our head with. God, I hate those, right? So yeah, it's always kind of interesting, Oh, you're so sweet, Keith. Thank you. I love what I do, and I love this community that we are sharing right now. I love it. I feel so honored to be here with you. I feel honored that you guys spend this time with me, even when I have technological issues, which I have and been having tonight again, So, okay. So question number 3 for this conversation, I'd love to hear what you have to say about this. What is one choice that you made from a place of love this week? What is one loving choice that you made this week? And it doesn't have to be huge, right? It could be I honored my body and I took a nap. That's a loving choice, right? Or you stood back and did not argue with somebody, or it could be like any number of things. It could be I drank more water specifically this week, or I forgave myself, or it could even be I said no. when I felt like I should say yes. That is loving for yourself. These are things that you can do for yourself, right? So Jackie says, I haven't named my fear voice. I just feel panic at that time. Yeah, but you know what? There's something about, and I'm just throwing this out to you. You can do what you need to do, right? But when you kind of give it a name, whether it's a name like Gladys, I don't know where the Gladys thing is coming from, but whether it's Gladys or whether it's the committees or whatever, they kind of, the voice kind of, it's like it becomes front and center and it becomes easier to deal with, right? Okay. So just throwing that out to you because it can be life-changing when you recognize the idea of throwing love balls out, right? Oh my gosh. So Jackie says, I went to see my daughter who was mad at me at the time. Oh my God, that's so great. I love that you did that. Your dark voice. Oh my gosh, Jackie, I love that for you. That's so, you know what? And I don't mean to sound like all excited about it, but that's such a great thing. That's your dark voice. I think that's great. So now that you've named it, when it comes into that space of like ickiness, when you hear your voice saying, everybody wants you to say yes, but you say no, that feeling of letting people down, that feeling of, and we've talked about this recently too, dimming your own light to make somebody else feel better. Okay. I'm talking about giving love back to yourself. Giving love back to yourself. I think that is so important, yeah. Oh, you have to go. Love you, Keith. It's really amazing. It's really amazing when you really pay attention to those crazy little committees or the dark voice or Gladys. I feel like I want to start calling it Gladys now. I just love that. So tell me, you guys, what have you done this week based out of love? What have you done? Did you smile at a stranger? What was it like? Okay. Yeah. And that's the thing. You don't have to necessarily, have to have it be love balls. Although I will say, I'll just be honest. Here's the thing. I was about to get into it with my husband about an hour ago about something stupid, right? And I came in the spirit room and I sat down and I went, love balls, love balls. When you start to getting pissed, especially at somebody else, throw love balls at the person. Maybe not really, like, don't imagine you whipping the balls at somebody. Maybe don't do that, but maybe just throw lightly love balls. Hi, Tracy. Tracy says, I honored my husband's feeling and stayed home instead of pushing to get everyone to go. Oh my gosh, that is so great. I love that the way you just said that, Tracy. I love hearing that. I love hearing that. That's amazing. You honored your husband's feelings. I think that is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. Okay, so Bex says, I sent gratitude to everyone in an online community you're in yesterday. I love that. That's great, Bex. That's great. That's what we need to do more of. Sending the love, sending the gratitude, sending healing. I love it. Little ping pong balls of love. Yes, right? I have a little ping pong ball somewhere. Actually, I have a little ping pong ball. This is my ping pong ball of love. It's not really a ping pong ball. I don't even know what it is. Oh, no, you know what it is? It was in one of those like kind of Nerfy type guns. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave it right here. I'm going to leave this here so that it reminds me balls of love. And if you want to do that, I'm here to tell you, you know what? I think I'm going to write on it with a Sharpie, love. Oh my gosh, seriously. I am so going to do that when we're done. I mean, because that's the reminder. Sometimes we need a physical reminder to do that, you know? I love it. Love it. Love it. Pink, you know what? I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to put, oh, it's a black. Well, that's okay. It's a black, okay, art project. Okay, so I'm taking my ball and I'm writing love on it. L. O. Oh my God, you guys. V. Looks like a Y, but it's a V. Okay, look what I did. I know, I'm so weird. I love it. Oh my God. Okay, but guess what? Sometimes this is what needs to happen. Sometimes we need to do stuff like this to remind us later. Right? So now what I get to do is I'm going to leave this on my tabletop. And every time I look at that, it's going to be a reminder to send love. Oh my gosh, isn't that great? I love that. I love it. Love it. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the next sort of question. Okay. What does the hard aspect, I shouldn't say, I'm saying it like incorrectly grammatically. I don't even know if that's a word. Grammatically. I'm saying it incorrectly. Okay. Love doesn't always feel loving, right? Okay. So sometimes it can look like walking away or setting boundaries or saying no, as I said, you know, or resting or canceling the plans or letting somebody else. Do you know what I'm saying? Asking somebody for help. That can be a huge love thing for yourself, right? So what does that mean to you? Okay. Has Spirit ever asked you to do something that didn't feel really that great at first, but turned out to be exactly what you needed? Now, the reason why I shouldn't say the reason why I'm asking that, but the other night, perfect example. You know, I thought it was supposed to go a certain way. And now I'm like the queen of saying, I live a spirit-led life, right? And if Spirit has me go down a path, I go down a path, right? However, sometimes we get those expectations of what it's going to look like, and it doesn't necessarily look like that, right? So I allowed finally myself to just let it go and see where love takes us. Okay. So the question is then, has Spirit ever asked you to do something and you're like, you want me to do what? You know, but then I shouldn't even say Spirit, your intuition. Let's say it that way. Has your intuition ever said you need to do this when you know with every fiber in your being that you really don't want to do that? But then you do it because you're listening to your intuition, and then it turns out to be like the right answer. That's a really great question. And here's the point. It doesn't have to be, you know, it doesn't, I just love my love ball. Love my love ball. You guys, it's going to be here like for the rest of my life. But isn't it interesting how that works? Sometimes if we listen to our intuition, even though we don't think that it's going to take us down that right road, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, if I hadn't done that, this wouldn't have happened. So, and here's the thing. You can respond here with a story. That's great. Or you can just think it to yourself, because we all have those. When was the last time you followed your intuition and didn't, and you followed it and then it was like, whoa, right? So All right. So here's another question. And this is going to be like, this has the ability to be kind of profound, but kind of funny at the same time, right? All right. So if love sent you a text message right now, what would it be? Okay. What would it be? It could be like, go ahead, eat that chocolate chip cookie. It's okay. You know, what would it be if you could get a message from love? If spirit was trying to tell you something, right? Okay, so what does Tracy say? Tracy says, I was guided to take a trip and help my father-in-law with his fear of passing. Whoa. That's amazing. And Tracy, I'm assuming you went. The blessings that came from that were transformational, were life transforming. Oh my gosh. I love hearing that. I love hearing that. And did that give you a little bit of sort of strength within your intuition? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, do you trust your intuition a little bit more now because you listened and it was extraordinary? Very interesting question. So Tracy, I'd love to hear that. Okay, so Jackie says, yes, I've seen a lot of angel numbers that keep telling me to take my next path slow and build each step as you go. Oh my gosh, Jackie, absolutely. 100%. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is great. Taking your next step slow. That is listening to your intuition, you know? And Tracy says, yeah, I did. And that's the whole thing. It's like when you follow that path that you know you're supposed to, you know it's going to lead where you need to go. You know, it just makes you believe that and trust your intuition just ever that much more. You know, oh, I love that. That is so amazing. So amazing. Both of you guys, you know, Jackie and Tracy. I love, you know, when we listen to that, and sometimes it's hard to do. Sometimes it's hard to do, you know. But okay, so I need to tell you my thing. If love was going to send me a text, what would it say? I already know what it is. I have this thing about expectations this week. I don't know. So it's funny because normally I don't. Well, okay, so maybe I do to a certain degree. I mean, we all do. But I like Tuesday, I was like spot on. I was like, you know, but you know what? I feel like that if spirit was going to text me, if love was going to text me right now, a message, don't expect anything. Okay, so I'm going to a small ocean coastal town this weekend. My husband and I are going away for 2 nights. We're so excited to go. I'm so excited to go. But I have some expectations, right? But here's me in thinking this through. I need to back off any expectations of that and just be present. Oh, be present. Don't say we're going to do this. We got to do that. You know, no. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So Tracy says, I'm a spiritual teacher. Also awesome. Yes. It turned into me being the death doula and shifting the energy so that he could pass. And he passed 2 weeks later. Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss. Number one, first of all. But the whole idea of death doula, that is tough work. I was actually kind of looking into it several years ago. It's, you know, you have to be, I mean, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, Tracy, you know, it's tough to like sort of talk to people about their own ready to be, you know, their own journey into the next phase of existence, whatever that is, you know? So more power to you, Tracy. You are like you win my prize of of working hard, right? Because that is a tough thing that what you dealt with, and you did it, and it was a blessing. That's the whole thing. That's the tough part. When you start to realize that it's a blessing, that is I shouldn't say a tough part. That's the beautiful part. Wow. What a great lesson you just taught us. Great lesson. Thank you for sharing that, Tracy. That's amazing, right? Okay. So Jackie says, and they told me to trust my intuition, and now I really do. That's so great, Jackie, because this is that whole conversation, trusting. So I'm using the word spirit, or I'm using the word love, but the reality is I should be saying it's our intuition. I should like keeping it there, So when we trust our intuition, there's nothing more important than that, I think, on this spiritual journey that we're on. Do you know what I'm saying? Really interesting, really interesting. Okay, so last question, and then I'm going to channel a message. Yay. What is one thing that you are ready to love? What is it? What is one thing that you're ready to love? Now, here's the thing. It could be like, what part of your, so I'll say it this way, another way. What part of yourself might be asking for a little bit more love? Okay. What part of yourself, not fixing anything. We're not healing. We're just loving that part of ourselves. That, for me, I'll just give you an example. For me, that judgmental part. And I don't necessarily mean like the judgmental part of me judging me. That's where I need a little bit more love. And so what do you guys think? I would love to hear your thoughts. It's a difficult thing. It's a difficult question. And I love these conversations because it's difficult, So Beck says, I think the part of me that keeps trying or the chronic illness I experience. Yeah, absolutely. So, and Bex, you may have heard this story before, but your hesitation, Marcy. Oh my gosh. So beautiful. Yeah. Sending it love. Let's all send it love right now, So I still love Wayne Dyer, right? Oh my gosh. He just talks like he just talks like he's sitting right in front of you. Like he doesn't use the big words. Do you know what I'm saying? He just talks to you, I love that. So I saw this years ago, and it always comes up, right? He made mention of his daughter was young, and she had this something on her arm. I don't even know where it was. For some reason, I feel like it was on her arm, right? And it was this like mole thing, and they were like trying to figure out what it was, and it was growing, and it was like, it was not good. And they were worried about all the stuff, that you worry about when you find like a thing on your body, So what she did, she started talking to, I'm giving you the shorter version of this. She started talking to it, saying, I love you. I love you. Like she would like look at it and go, I love you. I love you. And she would send it love. Okay. And slowly but surely, this mole or whatever it was started to shrink, and it went away. Okay. And it kind of reminds me then also too, are you guys familiar with the water thing? Oh my God, the water experiment. And I know I have the book somewhere. This Japanese scientist did this experiment. He had all these jars of water, and I'm giving you the very short version of this because there's a book on it, and it's like a big thing. and he had all these jars of water, right? So some of the jars, like every jar would be a different emotion. Okay. So this jar right here would be like, he would send it love and he would say loving things to it, right? This jar heard loud metal music, right? And just like he would play, I don't understand how it worked. And there's so many caveats to this or whatever, but this jar was about heavy metal music. This jar was about joy, right? And he would talk to the jar about, all the joyful things in life, that sort of thing. And then the jar over here, let's just say, was hate. And there it would be like, you're ugly, I hate you, blah, blah, blah. And he would talk about all of that. Okay. Now, if you read this book, it is so fascinating. The jar with the love in it, and this part I remember specifically, he put it under a microscope and each of the drops of water in there looked like little, like snowflakes. It was absolutely beautiful, right? The hate jar was like, it looked dark and it looked terrible, right? Really interesting. And you got to go, I'm giving you the short, like Lauri-esque version of it, but it's amazing, right? So I'm saying all of that to say this. If our self-talk, the committees, Gladys, the dark voice, we listen to ourselves. We do. And when we talk to ourselves from a place of love, that's what we're going to be feeling. That's what we're giving off to the world. That's what we are doing, that we are giving love to ourselves. Okay? The more things that we we talk about the hate, we talk about, for whatever reason this week, I've said to myself like 4 or 5 times, Lauri, you're such an idiot. Are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me? I called myself an idiot. And my daughter happened to be standing next to me and she goes, Mom. And I'm like, I know better than that, kind of thing. So just saying that, right? So those are the committees. Okay. So Jackie says, feeling anxious or comparing myself to others. Right. Give yourself more love in terms of that. Jackie, just remember how beautiful and unique you are. You absolutely are. You absolutely are. You are. You're unique. I love the way you said that, Tracy. Beautiful and unique. We are all beautiful and unique. I love that. Thank you so much for saying that, Tracy. That is such a beautiful, nugget of wisdom. Gosh, that's gorgeous. I love that. We are all beautiful and unique. Gorgeous. Yeah. This is a beautiful community. I'm so honored that you guys are here. Okay. So before I do a little channeled message, I want to do like a little fun little sort of thing. Okay. So place your hand, one hand or both hands over your heart. Okay. And what I want you to say, you can close your eyes for this or leave your eyes open. Say to yourself, tomorrow, I choose love by what? By being kinder to yourself, by calling your mother, or trusting spirit that much more. So tomorrow, I choose love by taking a walk by myself, or letting go of one worry. Or for Jackie, it could be, I am choosing love by not comparing myself to anybody. Just for one day. For one day. Don't compare yourself to anybody. Right? Wow. I mean, that is such a beautiful thing to do for ourselves, right? And it gives us sort of an intention to take with us into tomorrow. Okay. And you can choose that every day. You can choose a new one every day, whatever, you know? Okay. Yeah. Love that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull one card for all of us. And this is the channeled little tiny card reading for all of us. Okay. I don't want to look at that. I don't want to look at what card it is. Okay. So I'm not looking. This is from the Sacred Earth Oracle deck, which I use it for a while and then it's so energetic, right? Okay. So what is this? Oh, wow. Oh my gosh, you guys. First of all, look at this beautiful, and I'm going to try to hold this up as long as I can. Look at this card. Wow. It says time. And look at all of the things. There's the beautiful lady. There's a child. What is that? There are people floating. There's birds. Oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. So beautiful. All right, so let me just try to get into a space and channel this beautiful message. What is time? Time is a man-made concept. But what is right now. The present, this present moment. It's not the past. It's not the future. We sit in this present moment. And when we do that, thinking about the past and all of the icky stuff, all of the great stuff, none of it matters because it's the past. And the future, that's just a wishful thinking. But right here, right now, and I say this a lot, nothing is right, nothing is wrong, it just is. Just is in this present moment. Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh, I love that. Ooh, I got chills. Because you know what? I so needed to hear that. I so needed to hear the message that nothing is right, nothing is wrong. It just is. Right here, right now. Nothing is wrong. Wow. Boom. Wow. Oh my gosh. I love this message for all of us. Yeah. So the time is now. Enjoy and be grateful for everything in your life. I love that. Be grateful for everything in your life. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So that's all I have to say, believe it or not. Thank you guys for being part of this conversation. This is what I really love to talk about. The concepts, the things, and if there's ever a subject that you guys would love to talk about, email me, let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts. So remember that love is all around us. Love is the highest vibration that there is. It's the highest vibration that there is. And when we sit in that place of love, that's where we find the peace and the joy and the bliss. So much love to you guys. Love you, Bex. Thanks for being here. And I will see you all next week. Oh, I'm going to be live next Wednesday at 5:00 because my beloved Pittsburgh Steelers first preseason game is next Thursday. Hey, I'm nothing if I'm not honest, right? So next Wednesday, we're going to do it at 5. So, all right. Much love to you guys. Have a great night, everybody. Take care. Thanks for hanging out in the spirit room. Now go shine your light, trust your vibe, and remember to tell someone that you love them today. Namaste.